a startup. Is that right?
Yeah, I did door-to-door sales and different like sort of, attempts at life. But then my dad contacted me and he said had a friend who was starting a tech company or had started a tech company, but he was struggling to move past solopreneur. He hired people and he wasn't very good at people. And he told this friend, my son can sell ice to the Eskimos and you should hire him.
So were you a good door-to-door sales?
I was really good. I sold Kirby vacuums and I was.
What did you learn from doing that?
I learned rapport skills. I learned quickness of thought, to trust my speech engine.
Yeah.
I remember, for example, knocking on this one door once and this woman says, you guys, like, don't you do any other neighborhoods? You're like the 6th guy from your company to knock on my door in the last 4 months. Like, why do you guys, I never let anybody in. Why do you keep coming? And one thing I can tell you about sales is that everybody has defense mechanisms against sales.
Yeah, like go the hell away.
Right, but the stronger your defense is at the outer level, the easier it is to pillage on the inside. So if somebody is very firmly won't let you in the door, that's because they're really easy to sell to. It's just the way it is. If somebody lets you in easily, you're going to have a tough go of it. It's going to be.
Is that right? Eh?
This woman,
that's a very sneaky thing to know.
It's very, very powerful to know. This woman's really. I can see she's got the fortress walls up, the drawbridges up. She goes. So what makes you any different? And I went, I'm cute. And she busted out laughing, and of course, laughter, the orgasm of the brain, And she opens the door.
Muscular tension all disappears.
John, she invites me in for a coffee, and an hour and a half later, she's spending $1,500 on a vacuum she didn't know she needed.
And how long did you do door-to-door sales?
2.5 years.
Oh, and you
I did about a year of that, and then they put me in recruiting. And so
you stuck with it.
I did.
Did you like it?
No, but I knew it was right somehow. Like I knew that I was developing skills that were useful to me.
Yeah, well, man, there's that ability to sell. So what did you learn about selling? You just sort of related one of the things you learned. I mean, so selling, marketing, we have sales and marketing, and I don't really like that, either of those terms. I mean, because all of this is communication, and if it's done properly, it's communication in relationship to trust, if it's done well. Were the vacuums you were selling decent vacuums?
To this day, I live in the Caribbean. We don't have carpets, but if I had carpets, I would have that vacuum, no question about it.
So you were selling something.
I believed in it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's crucial, right? Yeah. Like if you're embarking on a sales career and you don't believe in what you're selling, you're just a bloody liar, and you're training yourself to be a psychopath. So you need, and this is good advice for people who are listening, who are thinking about doing this, is if you're going to sell, you need to believe that the thing you're selling is actually worthwhile and does its job properly, because otherwise you're just a bloody scam artist. And
if you push me hard enough, I'm going to sell you a Kirby.
Yeah. So, okay, so you stuck with that for quite a while.
Yeah.
Okay, now you've got an opportunity to join a new company that's based on a good idea. The guy who's established the company isn't a person who has this easy capacity, let's say, or well-developed capacity for communication and sales. So you step in there. What happens?
I join him, and the company lifts off. I'm really good at what I do. Like he tells me, and I don't really get much training. He basically hands me a binder full of names of people and says, call these people and try to buy or sell barcode equipment.
And what was the equipment?
Barcode scanning equipment, data capture equipment, barcode printing, and related technology.
And what did it offer the people that you were talking to?
What we did a lot of times is we would call companies and buy equipment from them because we refurbished it and resold it. So when they bought it from us, what they were buying is sometimes cheaper. Sometimes they were buying obsoleted equipment that they couldn't get anymore. So we were providing them a valuable service. There were a number of different angles that we took. But, one of the things I found really fascinating about generally sales and marketing is that people are so afraid of rejection. And I think it's selfish. I think it's really selfish to be afraid of that rejection, because if you believe in what you're selling, then you have to ask yourself, is my 30 seconds of rejection feeling more important to me than the pain I might be resolving for this person over the next few decades of their life?
Right.
So in my business in WildFit, we help people, reframe their relationships with food. And we have like literally hundreds of cases of morbid obesity being ended, type 2 diabetes being reversed, and so on. If I'm sitting with you, if I've been sitting with you some years ago when you were dealing with all the autoimmune stuff, and I held back from offering you what you now know, but you didn't then, if I held back offering that because of my fear of rejection, how selfish is that? How selfish is it for me to not try to help?
Well, that also I think emerges for people too when they're selling something they don't believe in, which basically means that they're lying. I mean, I did a lot of sales and marketing, like a lot, and with some success and with a lot of failure for a variety of complex reasons. And I learned that Well, first of all, you're not selling, you're forming relationships, because if you're a salesman and you have even the vaguest clue, you don't lie to your damn customers because you actually want to have a relationship with them for
Yep.
like the next 20 years. And so you have to be offering them something genuine, and it can't be nonsense. And you have to believe, and it has to be the case, that what you're offering them, this partnership, is going to be of clear and outstanding mutual benefit. And then when you're selling, you're actually not trying to sell or convince.
That's right.
You're trying to establish relationships. And I've also learned too that, and I don't know what you think about this, but my sense too is that this wouldn't be exactly the same as doing it door to door, but you know, if you push and inquire and see if there's a fit, and you see that there isn't a fit, there's not a lot of sense pushing, because if there isn't a fit, you should be going to talk to someone else. Plus, if there isn't a fit and you push it, the fact that there isn't a fit is just going to cause endless trouble as you move forward in the relationship.
You know, sales, networking, and dating, they're basically the same function. And we make exactly the same mistakes in one as we do in the other. So very often people try to go for the sale too quickly. In a date, the way that looks is you're looking at the menu, and the one person in the date says, "Oh, look, they have a kiddie menu for when we're back here next year."
Right.
That might be.
That's a little premature.
Yeah, or oh, by the way, I brought the condoms. I mean, either way, that's a little early, right?
And that's an indicator of a kind of impulsive, predatory psychopathy, by the way. That's focus on immediate gratification in the present is a very bad marker of character.
Exactly, and we make that many people make mistakes like that in dating, but they make that mistake even more commonly in selling. They go for the sale too quickly. So one of the ways that I often demonstrate this is, you know, I've done lectures on this all over the world, and I've got an audience, and I'll generally pick a woman in the front row, and I say, "Can we have a date, please?" And I bring her up on the stage. She has a microphone, and I'll say, "Well, I'm so glad that you swiped right so we could be here today." You know, making a bit of a light of it. And then I'll go, "So let's start the date. I'd like to give you a little bit of my personal background. I'm a partner in a law firm. We do intellectual property law." And by the time I get to that place, there's a camera on her, and you can see on the big screen for everybody's watching, women have two sets of eyelids. There's this one set of eyelids that close, their eyes are open, but they're gone. And that's, if you talk too long like that, they're gone. They're gone from the conversation. And that, again, is a problem of networking and selling. It's like pushing. Then I go, everybody notices that I've lost her. I go, "Okay, now you see what I've done. I've lost her. Can I have I'm not going to get I'm not going to get a second date. So can we have a do-over?" All right. So now I start, and I go, "You know, as much as I'd love to share with you about my, you know, my law firm and such, what I'd really like to know is, what do you like to do for fun?" Eyes light up. Now she starts telling me what she likes to do for fun, and I keep asking. I'm not pushing. I'm asking. Then invariably, and I've done this countless times in countries all over the world, invariably, she will come to some area where she talks about her passion, her hobby, her career, her dreams. And she goes, "Oh, I have a book I'm working on." And I go, "You have a book you're working on? Have you chosen a title yet?" She goes, "No." And I go, "Listen, when you start thinking about, are there ideas in the book that might be unique?" And she goes, "Yes." I go, have you considered copyright protections and maybe a registration of And she goes, "Yeah." And I go, "Well, listen, I'm a partner in it. Now my fictitious law firm matters."
When I was selling, so I started out selling, so to speak, as a professor. And my sense was, and I knew that this was the case, what I was offering to the companies I was attempting to sell to, I knew would produce a staggering economic return for them. And I could demonstrate that statistically, and I could demonstrate it through brute fact. And I thought, to begin with, that my job was to just lay out the facts, and not to convince, but to lay out the facts and let people form their own judgment. And what I didn't understand was that people almost never make a judgment based on facts, and certainly not on statistical facts. Like that that hardly happens with data scientists. It certainly doesn't happen with like, say, typical middle managers in a large corporation. That never happens.